Over here we have a range of galvanized, hot dip galvanized nails. The galvanizing protects against corrosion. We're going to start right here. This is a Tico nail. That's for fastening Simpson hangers, the sheet metal hangers that hold the world together now. An inspector will want to be able to see some sort of a stamped insignia on the top so that he knows you didn't just drive a 7-penny siding nail in there, or 5-penny in this case. It has to be something that he can identify as being large enough in diameter and heavily enough corrosion protected that it's going to last for a good long time. Moving up, this is, I think, a 6-penny galvanized box nail. That's a 7-penny siding nail. Head is smaller, less obtrusive. Drive it carefully. Don't leave any tracks in the cedar siding. Walk away proud. The advantage of hot dipped and the corrosion resistance on siding is it doesn't streak, or it doesn't tend to streak. But if you want it perfectly corrosion resistant, you better get out your wallet and buy stainless steel. Here's a better example of box nails. This is a 16-penny galvanized box, 16-penny galvanized common. These are used in fascia board and other exterior finish situations. Now we're getting up to the big boys. 20-penny, sometimes for holding down a truss or a rafter, or just really getting with it if something has to hold and you're not worried about splitting it. This is an 8-inch spike. I have no idea what the penny designation is on that, but by the time you get done driving that in, you're going to know you drove a nail. So now we get to the place and the sort of nail that really establishes the advantage of a nail and a nail gun. Let me clear this off and show you some of this stuff. Let me drill down on the nails that you are most likely to need to know about before I jump to the nail gun and sort of demonstrate why those have swept, absolutely swept construction. Here's the nails that, you know, will work for most things. Now here's the takeaway though. Yes, any nail will go in anywhere, but there are ideal applications for ideal nails, and sometimes it's just absolutely worth getting the right thing for the right job. These 8-penny sinkers, you carry these because they are best for nailing plywood to the framework. They're 2 3/8. You can have 1/2 inch or 5/8 or 3/4 of an inch through the sheeting and still have plenty of material into the meat. Now you've got to have a lot of these to get cumulative strength, and so nowadays you just toenail down the corners to keep the sheet in place and then nail it off with a nail gun. But if you're detailing your top and bottom plates and you don't want them to get scrambled and mixed up, if you've got these in your bag, you can through nail one plate into another and you only have that much embedment holding them together, so you can pull those plates apart by hand, clinch that nail, and not have chaos when you try to match your plates together. So tacking plates, tacking plywood, and holding the end of a chalk line, you better have some vinyl coated sinkers. 16 sinkers, these are the ones that hold the world together. These can through nail. You know, if you have a 3 1/4 inch nail, you're going to have 1.5 inches through one plate and 1 3/4 into the other, which means it's going to stick through a little bit, which means you'll hook your finger on it. But if you angle it a little bit, you still get full penetration. They drive fast. They set flush. They're the tool. Now let me back up. You can toenail with these, but sometimes you can toenail with 3 or 4 8-pennies and get sufficient structural strength and not have to drive in or split your material quite as readily as this nail will. Now let me show you a trick right here that you may already know. If you have a nail that you don't want to split the end of a board, you can blunt the end. Maybe you got to put it on something hard. A nail that's been blunted tends to cut its way through the board rather than part the fibers, and you're not as likely to split things. These are specialty nails. You don't use these in framing much. This little guy, kind of a unique, let me show you a couple of these boxes. Because nowadays in the box stores, you buy nails in boxes rather than bulk. That's what the 8-penny sinkers look like in a box. Here is what this little nail looks like in a box. It's 1 1/4 inches long, 12.5 gauge. and it is slightly ring shanked. That's for tacking down or maybe nailing down. Underlayment. Now maybe you don't have a nail gun strung out or a stapler and you need to nail some down. This is a nail that doesn't tend to back out and squeak.